Anyways, welcome back. We're going on to the second league of today. Let's spin the wheel and see what we get. Wah, wah, wah. Living End. Man, how boring. All right. This is Living End. You cycle creatures, and then you cascade to Living End, and you bring all your creatures back and kill all your opponent's creatures. And the deck is even more BS than it's ever been because you can play Grief and Subtlety for free, and then they come back, and you can play 14 lands because now we have these Lord of the Rings land cyclers. Yep, that's pretty much it. Sideboard, Dispute, Brazen Borrower, Subtlety, another copy of Living End, 3 Leyline of the Voids, Foundation Breaker, Force of Vigor. It sure is a deck that exists. I'm here with you, yeah. This deck definitely exists. It is also usurped Burn as my most disliked deck in the format because of Grief and Subtlety. Anyways, I guess let's jump into the list with Living End. Living End easier than Rhinos. I don't know. They're both incredibly easy. All right. Rhinos can at least pretend it's a tempo deck. Is Living End the Greasefang of Modern? I would say the Greasefang of Modern is Amulet Titan. If we're trying to compare decks, I don't think there's an exact comparison, but Living End would be more like the Lotus Field of Modern. All right. We are on the play with Living End. Well, we have land. We don't have a second land, but we do have a way to get a second land, and then we can keep cycling for stuff, so I will keep. All right, cast Grief. I'm so sorry, opponent. All right, they're playing Murktide, so let's just put, I guess, Bolt into the graveyard. And then let's shock this in, and then I'm just going to pass and cycle Generous Ent. Cycle for a forest. Let's grab Breeding Pool, or just Forest. Forest will do it. All right, play a Forest, and then just cycle both of these guys, I guess. Or just Waker of Waves. I guess I should... Okay, this doesn't draw cards, right? Yeah. So I don't need to respond to Bowmasters. Opponent bolts us, sure. They don't even have black mana. All right, cycle Waker of Waves. So let's put one of them into your hand. Put this one in the hand. All right, is this good enough to just Living End right now? I guess they could have a counterspell, right? So let's set stop on their upkeep. We know 4 of their cards. Shock, and then we'll just Outburst on their upkeep. Cast Outburst. All right, Living End hit, cast this. All right, they do have a counterspell. That was the 5th card in their hand, was counterspell. They drew a Steam Vents for the turn. All right, we can Grief again. Let's just cycle some more stuff. Cycle Curator, cycle Street Wraith, cycle Street Wraith. All right, cycle, what am I missing? Stomping Ground, cycle this for a mountain, and then get Stomping Ground. Put this into play. So actually, I know all 4 cards in their hand, all 4 of which are creature. So it's land, land, creature, creature. So I don't want to cast Grief right now. All right. Pass it back to them. They play an island. All right. Cycle this one for Breeding Pool. All right. Well, I'm holding this so that I can Grief them and see if a counterspell's in their hand when we eventually do draw a Cascade card. They play Otawara. They're just going to cast Murktide now. I guess not. All right. Well, I'll just keep passing until I find more cyclers. All right, there's Shardless Agent, so let's just go. Cast Grief, exiling this. Counterspell. All right, Shardless. Wow, what an interesting deck to pilot, Living End players. So many decisions to make. Should I cycle this card or this other card? It's turn 3. I wonder if I should cast my Cascade spell. All right, Murktide. I guess Leyline of the Void is something. What is Murktide's anti-graveyard stuff? Although they're playing Bowmasters. Let's see, they could be playing... They're probably just playing counterspells, right? If they have any stuff, it's going to be Chalice of the Void or Relic of Progenitus, probably. So let's just put in Brazen Borrower, since these are good enough anyway against Murktide. Mystical Dispute to hit their counterspells back. What else? I don't really care about subtletying their stuff. I guess I care about subtletying Ragavan on turn 1. So that in, and what am I cutting? Turtles, Wakers... What else do we cut from here at this point? Is this overboarding? Probably don't need this many subtleties. All right, I guess this is fine. Some Murktides are on Tor mods. Yeah, we got Brazen Borrower to pick stuff off. All right, submit. They could have any number of things. All right, we have 2 Cascade spells, a land, a thing that finds a land, a cycler. We have Force of Negation. This is fine. I probably, grab Basic Forest as the first card, or Basic Island as the first card, and then Oliphant for the other one. Bobble, Bobble. Crack Bobble. Bobble Trigger. All right, we drew another Cascade spell, so let's go land. Is there any reason to cycle Street Wraith now as opposed to later? I guess they have Bowmasters in their deck. Yeah, cycle it now. All right, there's another land, so we're pretty good here. Pass it back. Bobble. So let's just grab both of our basics and Oliphant for something else. Steam Vents. Shocked. Plays DRC. Sure. All right, fetch. Grab our basic forest. Cycle Oliphant. Grab our Steam Vents. Then we go to our turn. Then we'll play another land. We'll go fetch basic island and pass it back to the opponent. All right, they're just attacking with the 1/1. That's fine. Cycle Riverwinder. Drew Mystical Dispute. All right, I have no more cyclers, so for now I will just keep going. All right, let's cycle the Riverwinder. I could try to Shardless Cascade, but I'm not going to yet. I only have 3 creatures in the graveyard. I want to fill more up before I do that. So let's just shock this in. I have Outburst plus Force of Negation, so I think I'm reasonably good to wait another turn here, especially if I draw another land. Steam Vents, shock. All right, go to 12. Cycle the Riverwinder. Cycle the Curator. Cycle the Oliphant. Grab Steam Vents. All right, this ought to be good. Oh, and we have Grief on top of all of that? All right, shock this in. Grief. Exile Living End from the hand. What do you got? Opponent says they forgot to put Watery Graves in their deck. All right, so we just take Dispute. All right, just cast Shardless now. Shardless, go forth. All right, we won the match. Man, so much big brain with this deck, eh, guys? Man, whew. It's just taking so much processing power right now. I don't know if I'm going to have the mental fortitude to play the next league after this one. Highly interactive, 10,000 IQ plays. Yep. All right, we're on the play. What do we got? Land, Living End, Oliphant, Stripe, Riverwinder. I mean, we have lands and 3 cycling, so I suppose we just keep this, right? And then we just keep cycling to get more cards. It's obviously not a very good hand, but seems fine by me. All right, Sanctum, go. Bloodstained Mire. Maybe I was supposed to cycle immediately in case I draw Grief, so I can Grief pitch Living End. Bloodstained Mire. All right, combat. Back to us. Cycle Riverwinder. Review Force of Negation. All right. Another Riverwinder, another Curator. I guess I'm just gonna... Yeah, I should try to get Grief. So let's cycle the Riverwinder. Let's play Sanctum. Let's cycle Curator. There's another Curator. All right, pass it back. Opponent fetches. Swamp plays Dothy Voidwalker. Well, I guess it was good I was cycling these beforehand. All right, so now we got to find Evoke Fury to put Fury in the graveyard. Sure. Well, they are doing their damnedest to not lose to the Living End. We don't have a cycler anyway, though, so I guess my plan is just keep waiting, then Otawara this back to their hand, discard a whole bunch more cards. Yep, so let's just play this tapped and pass it back. Or I guess I should have held up Force of Negation if they play Fable the Mirror Breaker. Swamp or Blood Moon. That would have also been a problem. All right, back to us. Land, pass. They fetch. All right, we take another 3 from Dothy. Go to 14. All right, fetch. Grabbing a forest, I guess. Does it really matter? I guess, yeah, grab an island. And then Otawara this back to your hand. They fetch in response. Okay. What are we doing in response to this? Takanuma. Okay. And they dumped Pyro, Rag. I don't know why you would need to respond with Takanuma, but that's fine. All right, well, now let's try to find our Cascader. There's our Cascader. So now we will Mountain Cycle this thing. Go grab Stomping Ground, I guess. Forest, or Misty Rainforest, go get the basic out of our deck. Play Shardless. Cascade a whole bunch. Hit Living End. All right, our board should be better than their board. Fury's going to kill a thing. We do have 2 hexproof guys. All right, the Return of Dothy. Another land. So we attack... They trade Fury for a creature. The rest should get through fairly easily. Marsh Flats. Fetch a swamp. Played another Pyromancer, and they are dumping Grief and a land into their graveyard. So they have actually put up a reasonable board here. How would I block if I were them? I would go... I swing everything except Shardless Agent, right? And then they go... They can trade with Oliphant. They have 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 power and blocks. So they can... Let's say Fury goes on Oliphant. No, Fury goes on Riverwinder. Those trade off. They put both Pyromancers on Oliphant. Those trade off. They put Ragavan and all the remaining elemental tokens onto Striped Riverwinder. Those trade off. We both lose our entire boards except mine are exiled to Dothy Voidwalker. And then I retain Curator and Shardless. They retain Dothy. Seems like a bad trade on my part. So I guess I can just swing with Curator and protect it with Force of Negation. That seems fine. All right, just swing with the Curator since they have no flyers. What is under Dothy right now? Just 2 lands, right? Otawara, and that's it. All right, play a land tapped and pass the turn. Another Dothy. They're attacking with Dothy, which I can't block, and Fury. All right, well, definitely blocking Fury. So block here. I guess what? If they have scam spell, they'll try to scam it back and then we just force that. Yeah, that's fine. There's the scam spell. Here's our force. Get out of here, scam spell. They have another scam spell as the last card in their hand. Okay. Okay, opponent. So now they get to kill our curator when it comes back. All right, we're actually going to lose this. Incredible. I guess I can just cast Riverwinder, right? But then I'm going to lose on the board to these Dothies since they can just keep attacking me. So, all right, so go to combat. So this is 3 each. So, all right, go to combat. Swing with Oliphant and Riverwinder. 3, we block here, and then everything else is lethal, so I have to try to swing out. Oliphant trigger on Riverwinder. All right, what are your blocks? Pyro to trade here. Both of these have trample, so this is 13 power of trample. So they have to block with more than that. Yeah, all right, so block there. Trading off with Oliphant. Okay, damage. And then I just play... Oh, I have to shock this in order to play it, though, and then I'm just dead on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cast this. So now they can just attack with everything, and I take lethal. Yeah, all right. Yep. Game 2. All right, so they've got to be playing Leyline of the Void, right? Plus Dothy, Voidwalker, so I need bounce spells to get rid of their guys. Probably Foundation Breaker. Subtlety to hit Dothy. And then I don't care about this stuff, so what's the worst cards that I can cut? Waker is 2 mana to cycle, and Curators die to Fury. I guess Street Wraiths also die to Fury, but these are free. And also black, so I can grief them. All right, let's go with this. How useful is Force Negation here? It's actually not, is it? What do they have? Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon. Yeah, let's actually just cut these, put the Curators back in, or put the 2 Wakers, let's say, and 2 Curators. All right, that's fine. Submit. Game 2 on the play. This hand is not very good. We already have a living end in the hand. We only have 1 cycler that doesn't even find new cards. Let's mull this. All right, this hand's better. So I guess I keep this and I put back which one of these? I'm going to go basic forest, no, basic island, and then cycle this for the basic forest. So I want steam vents. So let's put botanical back. All right, done. Play land, pass. Swamp. Chalice for 0, sure. Stone of Eric. If a creature opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Sack to exile the graveyard. Okay. Well, they've got us stacked out. So let's go grab forest, cycle this, and let's grab... Oh, I meant to grab the island. My bad. All right, in that case, I'll just grab breeding pool. All right, so probably should get this off the field first. So let's just go steam vents, shock, evoke this guy. Make sure to stack these triggers correctly, and then kill the stone. And this dies, and then... back to them. We do need to find an answer to this Chalice of the Void at some point. Blood Crypt, Bowmasters. All right, cycle Riverwinder. Yep. All right, well, we're going to cycle this other Riverwinder, so shock this in here and then just go. We take 3 down to 10. All right, cycle the Riverwinder. We drew Living End, which is not good either. We go down to 9. Man, this is just not going well, is it? 3 Cascade spells. Well, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to draw some kind of action, so... cycle the Riverwinder. Just none of this is action. All right, so now if I cycle Street Wraith, I'm dead. What can I possibly draw to get out of this? I have to have an answer to Chalice of the Void and be able to Cascade. So Street Wraith, I go to 5, and then I'm just dead on the backswing. But if I don't do it now, I'm dead on the backswing anyway. I could draw, what, Brazen Borrower to bounce the token? All right, cycle Street Wraith. Well, we've just drawn complete garbage, so that's the game. All right, then. On to round number 3. All right, round 3 on the draw. We've got 3 cyclers and a cascade spell. Looks good to me. Keep. Opponent mulls to 6. Scalding Tarn. All right, back to us. So, all right, let's just go Misty for a basic island past the turn. Opponent cracks. Gets steam vents. Tapped. Urza's Saga. All right, so I'm guessing this is Grinding Breach. Fetch. Island. Cycle Riverwinder. All right, back to us. Cycle Street Wraith. There's Force Negation. All right, so let's go. What would I do if I cycled the Riverwinder now? As opposed to later. I don't think anything. So let's just play Forest past turn. And then I have the option of cycling that or not. Or channeling that or not. Back to the opponent. Saga goes to 2 counters. Wooded Foothills. Alright, back to us. So we will cycle the Riverwinder. Alright. Let's see. If they have a Graveyard Hate in their deck, like Relic of Progenitus or something, I have to outburst before they go grab it. Alright, so back. So it's on us again. So let's just go Stomping Ground and then Violent in their upkeep. Or Violent with this trigger on the stack to see whether they tap it or make a construct. Shock, pass it back. Opponent fetches, grabs Stomping Ground. Stomping Ground. So it's, Unclear what they're doing then. All right. Construct token. Urza Saga on 3 counters. They tap it for mana in response. All right. Cast Violent Outburst. Cascade, Living End, cast. All right. Riverwinder, Street Wraith. They lose their Construct token. What do they get with the Saga? Haywire Might. All right. Land. Fetch. Island. Just playing the ring probably. Yeah. All right. Force a Negation. Exiling. Curator probably. If I bounce their Haywire Might, I attack them for 13 and they go to 2. All right. Force that. Then it's back to us. Or I could get the force back, but then I'm losing this. I'm in no hurry, right? Play this tapped. I attack, they block. They take 6 down to 9. Let's just keep them off of shock mana. Bounce this guy. Combat. Swing out. So this puts them to 2, so if they have shock lands, they can't play them untapped. Go ahead. EI, that's not going to do it. So it's like 4-color Saga with card advantage spells. Okay, I have no clue what this is. Well, if they're an Urza Saga deck, I want artifact enchantment removal. Probably don't need subtlety. I don't know. If they're playing green, it's probably for Renin 6, right? So that stops Renin 6. And then what do I cut? They're playing the ring, so I definitely want Force and Negation. So cut Wakers. The Sky Turtles also seem not great. Let's do that. Or do I need Borrower on top of everything else? Yeah, let's do that. Submit. All right, game 2 on the draw. We've got Force of Vigor, Shardless, Street Wraith, Cycler, 3 lands. Seems fine. Keep. Opponent plays Misty. And then I guess they're just passing over to us. All right. So let's cycle Street Wraith. All right, there's Force of Negation. So let's just go Misty, and then we'll cycle on their turn. Opponent fetches. Grabs Steam Vents. Tapped. All right. Shocks in Stomping Ground. Renin 6. I'm going to force that for sure. So I'm going to cycle first to see if I get a different blue spell that I don't want. Or if I draw Subtlety. Cycle. Another Force. This might be enough here anyway. I don't know. Now let's just... So I'm definitely forcing it. And what am I getting rid of? Probably just the other Force. Yeah, the other Force. All right, back to us. So we can cycle Riverwinder and Oliphant. Cycle this. Cycle Street Wraith. All right, play Botanical Sanctum and then pass holding Oliphant. And then we'll Cascade next turn. Opponent plays EI. Puts Urza Saga in exile. Mishra's Bauble. Cracks Bauble. Plays Urza Saga. All right, cycle Oliphant. Grab a Steam Vents. And it's back to us. Bauble triggers. All right, let's just do it now. Shock and Steam Vents, cast Shardless. Cascade trigger. Living End, cast. Everything hits the field, and pass the turn. Here's a Saga on 2, land. Alright, so I guess they can play the ring to survive the turn. They failed to find a mountain or forest. Huh. Alright, well, we won that match. On to round number 4. How did you manage to assemble such a board state? I bet it was difficult. Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, so difficult to pilot. Alright, 2 different Living Ends are in our hand, and we have no Cascader, so definitely mulligan this. All right, well, 2 cyclers plus Cascade, so keep this. Are we even on the... No, we're on the draw. All right, put a land back. Done. Basic Mountain, Ragavan. All right, well, there's a Sky Turtle, so just play I guess they could play Blood Moon. They could drop a Blood Moon, so let's play this. And then I probably have to get both the lands out of my deck before Ragavan hits me. All right, fetch, basic island, cycle the Ent, grab the forest. All right, they hit us. What happens? Trigger, exiling Grief. Exiling Grief. Basic Mountain into Ragavan has got to be scam, right? Yeah, so now they get to grief us? Or they're just not? Okay, they're pyromancing first. They discard Pyro, which is also bad for our plan. And now opponent has 6 power in play on turn 2 and takes a card out of our hand. Incredible. All right, well, we just got to keep cycling. So I guess I could technically, I could bounce like the Pyromancer back to their hand or something. That seems so bad. It just puts us on the same clock, right? Or I could bounce Ragavan and then they have to dash it. Maybe that's better. So they go to combat and I just like Colossal the Ragavan back to their hand and they have to replay it. So we take less damage this turn. That's probably fine, I guess. They also have Dothy in their deck, so that is something else to be aware of. But I don't have a Cascade spell right now, so yeah, let's just... Oh, actually, I guess, is this a permanent only? Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, all right, so I can get back Violent next turn. So I'm taking 6, go to 11. Then I get this back, and then I go to 5, and then I can do it. All right. So, all right, we get hit. 11. Ragavan exiles Curator. Another land. Fetch. Shock. Opponent plays Pyromancer. Ugh, that's rough. Discards Fury and a land. All right. Cycle Curator. If I cycle Street Wraith, I'm dead. 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. I'll be at 2. I actually need a mountain in play, though, right? To cast Violent Outburst. And I can't play an untapped mountain. So I'm actually one turn off of being able to to not lose. So I just have to, at this point, cycle Street Wraith into... All right, well, I'm going to do the Oliphant regardless. So Mountain cycle this, grab a land. So I just have to find the Cascader this turn. Yeah. Shock, I go to 9, then I'm dead on board. Yeah, all right, cycle Street Wraith. That's not going to do it. So now I do what? I bounce Ragavan back to their hand, and I take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just have to hope to find a Cascade spell next turn. All right, so play that tapped. Go ahead. All right, discard the Sky Turtle, bounce Ragavan. All right, we're at 2. All right, Argo. We didn't draw it. All right, sideboarding. Same deal. Brazen Borrower to get rid of Dothy. Foundation Breaker for Blood Moon / Leyline of the Void. Cutting this one, this one, this one. Force is bad. Subtlety in. All right, submit. I wonder if Scam is this deck's worst matchup. They have Evoke Elementals to just put stuff into their graveyard for free. They've got Dothy Voidwalker to shut off all of your discarding. Turn 1 Ragavans to get ahead quickly. Season Pyro to discard creatures into their graveyard. Blood Moon so that you can't Cascade unless you find your basics really fast. They can also Thoughtseize and Grief your Cascade spells out of your hand. All right, game 2 on the play. We have no lands, so mulligan this. Still have no lands. Mulligan this. All right, keep. I have to put 2 cards back. I want to Grief them on turn 1, which requires me to put back Brazen Borrower and one of the Cyclers. All right, Grief. Oh, actually, I should cycle first. I'm going to cycle first anyway. So if I find yeah, okay, fine. Grief. What's in your hand? 3 creatures and Undying Malice. Well, I guess I get rid of Dothy, so they can't deploy that. And then we continue with the game. Opponent plays Verdant, fetches a Swamp, plays Nile Spellbomb. They drew Nile Spellbomb for the turn. All right, I guess I just got to do this now before they get Bowmasters down. All right, so Brazen Borrower, I'm just holding until I find... How am I ever going to do this? I need to just get this off the table. And they found Grief. So now they take Brazen Borrower, and then they scam the Grief back. Yep, there's Malice. And now we just have no way to win. They're on a clock, and we have to get rid of the Nile Spellbomb, and we have to find a way to rebuild our graveyard after that and find a scam spell. Well, destroying a Living End's not going to cut it, so pass it back. All right, we get attacked. We go to 14. Opponent plays land. They're going to play Pyro, discarding a land. We've drawn our second Living End, so now we get hit for 6 down to 8. Even if I draw an Answer to Nile Spellbomb, I'm still dead after that. I still have to then find a Cascader, which will wind up killing these 2 and putting Dothy back into play, and then I just lose anyway. Okay, the game's over. All right, on to round number 5. Round 5 on the play. We have no lands, mulligan. All right, 2 Cascaders, 3 Cyclers. So I guess I'm just going to keep this and put back Curator. Keep, put back Curator, done. Play Misty, pass. Opponent plays Flats. Oh no, is this Scam again? All right, end of turn fetch. Let's see, basic, island, and then next turn I grab Stomping Ground. No, I have to grab all my colors, right? So let's just grab Breeding Pool and cycle the Riverwinder. We drew Waker, okay. Misty, and pass it back. Opponent did not fetch. Flats Verdant, they fetch now. They get Godless Shrine. All right, so it's not Scam, and they got it tapped. Huh. They fetch. They get a basic Swamp. Cast Thoughtseize. I guess if I drew Force Negation... No, I wouldn't even counter that. Yeah, Thoughtseize resolves. They took one of our Cascaders, obviously. All right, fetch. Grab Steam Vents. Shock. And then let's just go cycle. I'm not sure which one's better. I probably... If I find a land I can get back 3 Riverwinders, and that's pretty good. So let's just cycle these. So cycle the Riverwinder. There's a land, cycle the Riverwinder, cycle Street Wraith. All right, our turn, island, Cascade. All right, here is lethal on the board. Pass the turn. All right, we won. We're playing black-white, something with Thoughtseize. All right, that's my best guess as to what I need to swap out. We have 1 land, we have a Street Wraith to cycle for another land, but then this land is a forest, so if I don't find the other land, then this hand's toast, so mull this hand. All right, we've got Grief, we got multiple Cyclers. This hand is... We don't have a Cascade spell, but I think that's fine. So let's keep this and let's put back Living End, I guess. Done. Opponent has Marsh Flats, and it looks like they're just passing to us. All right, another Grief. So let's cycle first. So play Otawara, cycle this. All right, another Grief. So exile one of the Griefs from our hand, take a look at their hand. What are they playing? So they're just playing black-white, like mid-rangey stuff. I think I just take the Bowmasters, actually. It leaves them with nothing to do until later in the game. maybe not. Like if I take the Bowmasters, then they get both of the Bowmasters back when I bring everything back onto the table. So I just take the ring, and then they can play one of their Bowmasters, but I need to not just die to beatdowns, and I need these Bowmasters not to be pinging me constantly while I'm cycling. All right, let's take the ring, and then let's just not grief them again and wait for them to cast Bowmasters so we can subtlety it. Or we can subtlety the Solitude. Gets Godless Shrine, shocks in another Godless Shrine. All right, they're just going to play Bowmasters now. Let's just subtlety it now then. Put this back in your deck, or on top of your deck. They put it on the bottom. All right, there's Brazen Borrower, so let's shock this in, and then just pass it back to them. We do need to find a third land and a Cascader. All right, Marsh Flats, and back to us. Well, pass it back to them. I guess I do what? I just bounce the token, because bouncing the Bowmasters back to their hand doesn't really do anything. They just didn't cast it. Godless Shrine, shock, and they're just passing priority back to us. All right, still not drawing a land, so pass the turn. They flash in the Bowmasters. Go to 17, token, flash in another Bowmasters, despite the fact they put one of them back on the bottom. All right, well, I've got to not be taking so much damage every turn, so I'm just going to borrower back the token. All right, Petty Theft, the token. Then we take 2 down to 14. Opponent plays Grief. So now they can take another Cascader. So they've got Solitude, 1 unknown. How's the league going? Just got back. We are 2-2. It's round 5. We still didn't draw a land. So, or a thing that finds a land. So pass it back. So now we're taking 5 here, going to 9. We really, really need to find a land. Opponent casts another Grief. Well, now they're going to take another one of our Cascades. All right, there goes Shardless. We drew Living End. They have Solitude in their hand and 1 unknown card. So if that card is... All right, I'm not going to not do this. Actually, am I just dead on the board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, yeah, I'm almost dead on the board. Exile this one. I have to exactly draw a forest. All right, Bowmasters. Well, we're just dead then, right? Because I'm going to go to 8, and then even if we Living End, the Bowmasters comes back and pings us. Yeah, that's game. All right, sideboarding. So they're just black-white mid-range, so I guess I don't need the Foundation Breakers, question mark? I don't know. I didn't see anything from them that would warrant that. They do have a bunch of Evoke guys of their own, so maybe Leyline of the Void is good, or maybe Subtlety. Subtlety's probably pretty good here, so let's bring in all the Subtleties. So I'm guessing they're playing Scam and Ephemerates to get their Evoke guys back. I probably want Leyline of the Void in this matchup, and not these. So what else can I cut at that point, though? Force Negation seems poor. All right, let's run this. On the play, we've got 1 land, 2 cyclers, no Cascade spells. Mull this. 0 lands. Mull this. I can't imagine going to 4 is correct. We do have a Cascader. We do have a Subtlety. So just put 2 lands back. That is so rough. All right, Island, Misty. Play Misty, go. Tapped Castle Lockdwain. Evokes Grief. I guess we're putting that back in their hand. They're exiling a Bowmasters to do it. All right, exile the Subtlety. Put it back in top or bottom. They put it on top. Yeah, fetch. So Breeding Pool is the one we need to cast both of them. So get Breeding Pool tapped. And they're going to grief us again next turn. All right, well, at least we have 2 Cascade spells. All right, grief us, exiling Shieldred. And now they'll take one of our 2 Cascade spells. They took Shardless. I don't know why they're taking Shardless instead of Outburst. That just gives us another creature in the graveyard. All right, well, so I can Outburst whenever I want, but problem is I'm just getting back garbage creatures. So I will just not Outburst until I need to. Marsh Flats. All right, fetch. Get a Steam Vents tapped. So yeah, I guess I can just keep passing. So if I Shardless now, it puts Subtlety Shardless into play, and there's so many things that beat that. Like if they just drop a Shieldred, we lose the game. So let's just keep passing until they either drop like a Dothy Voidwalker or something that we absolutely need to kill. All right, so now we're in the chicken game. Who's going to blink first? All right, Oliphant. Let's cycle that immediately because I'm just going to play the land. Steam Vents, shock this in. It's probably better to get this all back now, right? They only have 3 cards in their hand. What if they have Solitude? I'm trying to set up a situation where my board is just overwhelmingly better than theirs. Yeah, let's pass. If they ever commit creatures to the board, we can kill them. And we just need to have a better board than they do. So we can just keep passing back and forth. And if I draw creatures with cycling, I just cycle them. All right, play this tapped. Pass back. Opponent fetches Verdant. Gets Godless Shrine. Tapped. I'm surprised they wouldn't just activate Castle Lockdwain. Even though, yes, they would take a bunch of damage from it. But, like, if I ever get to the point where I'm Living Ending back into play, they're going to lose the game anyway. All right, Cycle Curator. Is there any reason to do this right now? Everything that I have that has cycling is at instant speed, so I guess not. So let's just pass. All right, end of turn, cycle curator. I guess I could just cast subtlety now and start hitting them. Yeah, let's do that. Cast subtlety. All right, back to us. Attack with subtlety, swing. They take it and go to 16. Again, everything that I have is at instant speed, so let's just continue passing. No reason to blink first. They're still missing lands. All right, cycle Street Wraith. There's Leyline of the Void. All right, how good is this board? Let's say they evoke subtlety now, and then, or evoke Solitude, right? Let's say I go Outburst, and they go evoke Solitude, eat this, and then these come back, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures, and then their Solitude will eat Oliphant, and then they will have a board of Grief Solitude, and I'll have a board of Street Wraith Curator, Shardless Subtlety. That doesn't seem great for me, so let's just keep passing. All right, swing with Subtlety. Opponent evokes Solitude. So I guess I can Outburst in response to this thing hitting the board, right? Now let's do that. So it hits the board, then they're going to target this, and then we go switch these around. All right, Outburst, cast Living End. Then they get to grief us and take our Shardless, but that's fine. They're going to respond with Reprieve. Okay, so then Solitude eats this and then dies. Well, how much worse could this get for us? I guess I don't have the mana to play Shardless right now. All right, let's play that tapped and pass. 5th land. Now they're just going to play Grief and take our Shardless. The One Ring. Well, that's bad too. Drawing a card. They fetch Plains. So does that mean they have Ephemerate? I don't see a reason. We drew the other Living End. So the moment we cast this, we're out of Living Ends. If I do it now, they get both of these guys back. I don't care if they have Grief because our hand sucks. And then we're going to lose. But the more time I wait, the more ring draws they get. Then they're just going to Ephemerate Solitude and eat more guys. I think we're going to lose this. All right, let's just pass. And just try to find some more creatures that have cycling. So we can dump a whole bunch of things into the graveyard. All right, ring, go 14. Godless Shrine shocked in. Cast Shieldred. All right, so now we have to do it. Draw more cards with the ring, go up to 16. And they have the mana for Reprieve. But what are we going to do? If they have Reprieve, we lose. We drew Otawara. All right, cast Shardless. Cast Living End. Let's see the Reprieve. Yep, all right. Wow, only 2 and 3 with Living End. Well, that was Living End. My thoughts on the deck are...